Welcome to the Pop Agenda, where we cover everything under the pop culture sun. I'm here with music artist, producer, activist, content creator, comedian, and overall icon, Amani.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Thank you so much for letting me interview you. I'm really excited. To start off, could you let listeners know what you do and where they can find you?
First and foremost, you can find me mostly on Instagram at Amani Hip Hop. That's AMANIHIPHOP. For the most part, I would say I'm a content creator, social media slash social activist, and also a comedian as well.
So before we dive in, I just want to tell you that I love your music. So my favorite songs are Joan of Arc, Dance, Meet Me at the Harbor, Wake Up, and Space and Time. And the chorus of Joan of Arc has literally been stuck in my head. I've been waking up with it stuck in my head. And so for those who may not know Amani's song, Joan of Arc, here's a little a cappella rendition.
Oh, snap.
I don't want to be inside a universe where you're not by my side. I don't want to be inside a universe where you're not by my side. I love your music. It's awesome. so freaking good.
Yeah, I'm also a music artist. Man, I made those songs about a year ago. I was primarily just doing music heavy, and then just after a while, it started branching out into other things, but still keeping music in heart. I think you've seen some clips out, still a freestyle here and there with a little live backing band and stuff. So I try to still stay involved in just every little thing. But yeah, oh man, you said Wake Up.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ball, man. That's I like that song too. It's very experimental for a lot of people's taste, I feel, but definitely that beat is crazy. And I'll tell you this, the intro for that song, I played it out of my speaker into my microphone to get that mic feedback effect.
That's so cool.
Real. But yeah, thank you for that.
You're welcome. And then also your activism is really important and inspiring. I love your city council videos. Yeah, so let's get into it. First, what genre would you classify your music as? And also what genres inspire you?
Definitely alternative hip hop. I like experimental hip hop. I know my sound kind of, but more, I don't know, not too experimental, more like Death Grips, JPEG Mafia, that kind of thing. I'm a huge fan of just old school hip hop. My favorite rap artist from that era would be Nas, for sure.
Yes.
And then just alternative hip hop, you got some artists obviously Kanye has some generational bangers, but I'm not going to condone what he's been doing recently, but
right.
There's just old songs that have done, that do really well. And then Tyler the Creator, for sure, love him. I've been kind of tapping into Steve Lacy recently. He just dropped an album, love that. And there's one more. Oh, the Gorillaz.
The Gorillaz.
Yeah.
They're great.
They're fire, man.
What are some songs or bodies of work that you're most proud of?
A lot of people like Joan of Arc. Man, I did not think that song was going to get the reception. I made it. When I released that song, I made that song a year before I released it. I was just sitting on it. And as an artist, I don't know, a lot of people have songs in their vault and you never know. And I was just oh, I don't know how I feel about this song. I like it. And then it turns out to be, everyone's favorite song when it came out. Everybody's, singing it. I got approached on the street the other day. Mind you, I haven't performed this song in so long. This guy's oh, you're Amani. I was yeah, it's me. People know me either from the comedy or the social media stuff. And he starts singing that song, and I was what? That song, I took that chorus from another song I made called Take Me by the Hand. Same chorus, but I kind of just repurposed it. I kind of wanted to I felt I could do more with that those words. I don't want to be inside a universe where you're not by my side. I was that's such a powerful statement. I need to take it to another level. I don't think that song was the perfect vessel for it. So I'm glad that Joan of Arc kind of did it justice.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I've done that too. I think it's actually really cool how when artists kind of reimagine stuff like that, because like you said, it can be put in a much better light. That's really cool. Who and what are your biggest influences? Who did you grow up listening to? What shaped your musical DNA?
This is crazy. I used to grow up listening to Eminem, actually. And also at the same time listening to Katy Perry and also listening to classical music at the same time. It was a very weird mix. And this is middle school to high school. It was only the last 2 years, just because one of my close homies at the time in high school, his name's Ravion. Everything, I don't know, at the time when Kanye was going all viral for all this stuff or whatever, and this is before all the super crazy stuff, but I was so oblivious to it because, for one, I didn't get a phone until I was 16 or 17. So that whole era where he had like the Life of Pablo when he's like on the floating stage and everything, I didn't know anything about it. I just saw like you know how he had that thing with his hands up and everybody had it on their lock screen where he's holding up the
Yeah.
notification. I didn't know what that was. I didn't get it. I didn't really understand who he was. I was like, oh, he made Jesus Walks and stuff like that. That's cool, you know. So what, you know? And then he was like, oh, you gotta listen to this song and this song, and you know, I was just listening to some, and I was just like, man, these are like, you know, crazy songs. I would say now he's not like my favorite artist, but you know, I'll just say he's got some bangers. Definitely like Yeezus kind of helped shape that like experimental. And what a timeline we're living in, man. It sucks how he's made such amazing works of art, and it's so hard to talk about him just because of just all of the stuff that he's done in recent times. It's like I don't want to come across as a villain. Separate the art from the artist, you know. But I will say also in that era, yeah, I was listening to JPEG Mafia, a little bit of Kid Cudi. Who else? I was listening to Kuko, who's a art. He's like a mixed, like very like alternative bedroom pop kind of stuff, and he'll perform in McAllen sometimes. Like every once in a while when he's doing a tour, he's
Cool.
bedroom pop. Actually, I listened to a lot of that in high school. I feel like everybody did. I'm not gonna lie.
Nice. I can definitely hear that in your music. And now about Kanye West specifically, I'm there with you too. I experienced AI psychosis and I said a million things that do not reflect who I am as a person. Keeping that in mind, separating the private life and then the art. What are your top 3 favorite Ye albums? My top 3 are 808s and Heartbreak, Yeezus, and My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy. How about you?
Favorite's gonna be My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy, The Life of Pablo, and I want to say Yay. I want to say Yay. Those
It's a
would be
good
my
one.
top 3 in that order.
And you recently went to a Kanye concert, didn't you?
I did.
How was that?
I would say it was awesome. A lot of people criticize, I know, but real shit, I made a promise to myself back in high school, back before all of this. I was young and broke, and I wanted to see him so bad. And I was also struggling with a lot of depression. And I don't know, I don't know, some people might relate, but quite literally, some of the things that were like keeping me going was like, hey, you know, keep going. They got a new season of this show coming out. You got to stick around at least for that. Yo,
Right.
they're making a sequel to this video game. You know, you got to survive until you play that thing. And one of the things was, you know, like at the time where he was like one of the biggest artists of the world, I told myself like, if you ever get the chance, you know, and you live long enough, man, you got to treat yourself. And you ever get the opportunity to see Ye in Texas, you know, do it. You earned it. You made it this far. And that was a promise I kept to myself for continuing to live to this day. So that's what I did. And honestly, it was, you know, an awesome experience. Like the stage design was amazing. And it felt like my inner child was healed a little bit, and just everything that I was struggling for and fighting for, like I just felt like me from the past was just like so happy, like I fulfilled kind of like a wish from back then. Just all the stuff I was going through kind of got lifted a little bit, just because there's that bit of a tie to it.
Nice. Yeah, it looked like a great concert. What's a lesson life has taught you recently?
Honestly, it's never that big a deal. It's never that big of a deal. I've stressed about so many things, and once I get through it, even like with events or things that I'm putting on, after it's all like said and done, I'm like, man, I didn't have to worry that much about any of that stuff. Actually, I could have just, you know, now that it's done, there's so many things I freaked out. I got in school suspension in high school twice. I thought my life was over, dude. I literally, I didn't know. I literally thought to myself, I don't know how I'm gonna go to like college. I don't know how I'm gonna get a job, and I would freak out about everything. You know, I had anxiety over like a lot of different stuff, man. And yeah, looking back, it was just like, you know, now I'm able to live life and just understand I don't have to worry about so many things. Learning not to care about a lot of things in a good way.
Yeah, like not everything is so serious. I feel like when you keep that in mind, everything just turns out better. I've definitely learned that as well recently. Is there a local landmark, restaurant, or spot in the Rio Grande Valley that serves as your ultimate creative sanctuary when you need to escape the noise and create?
Flying Walrus in McAllen, Texas. It's a music venue slash bar. They have a lot of awesome shows there. They have an open mic every Wednesday, best open mic in the whole valley. Sometimes I'll just go there and get a drink. A lot of times when I was making my albums, I'll just go to that open mic. I won't even sign up. I'm just having a drink, just absorbing the creative vibes. That's when I made Take Me by the Hand, just of consuming all those alternative like indie vibes that they play over there. And I've done a lot of show. I've performed there a lot of times on the open mics, and I've done actual shows there as well. I opened for a band called Chroma. I performed in a suicide awareness show. A lot of things over there. Just that venue keeps giving back to the community. That I think even the owner posted like I think like in a year they've given basically generated like 100 grand like for music artists that were given and paid out to artists over the course of a year
That's
in the
incredible.
local community.
Texas has a legendary hip hop history. Winning a competition like Straight Outta Texas means you carry a piece of that legacy. What was it like participating in that, and how did it feel to win? Did that open up any doors for you?
So weird. Like where I'm at, I'm not gonna lie, down here, like I love the rap scene and I hate the rap scene at the same time just because of the ridiculous stuff that happens. And it's kind of like a crabs in a bucket kind of thing. So I'll step in, do my thing, and step out. When I go in there, like I'm making my name. Everyone kind of knows my skill level in the rap scene. But basically, someone was like, hey, you should come in. And I looked at like who was in there and I was like, man, I think I can win. This is like as a rapper, you got to have a little bit of an ego to it. But I looked at it and I was like, man, I think I'm taking a W if I hit it. And I come in, I perform, and yeah, I win. Honestly, I actually didn't really get any opportunities from that. They never really followed up with me for anything. I didn't really pay too much mind. I always have like other stuff going on. I mean, since then I did comedy. The comedy's been doing pretty good. I've gotten to perform at South Texas Comic Con, and I opened for Raymond Orta and some other comedians. He's kind of like a valley legend for comedy at South Padre Island at a beach resort, and
That's
they
cool.
invited me back, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Nice.
I don't know. I don't want to say I'm leaving the rap scene, but I haven't. I left. I hosted an open mic in there for artists for 3 years. You know, had a lot of great memories, but you know, nothing really ever came up from it. So I kind of stepped out to focus on my own thing, my content, and that's really what's been taking me the furthest.
So, speaking of your open mic night that you hosted, that's so iconic. I bet you discovered a bunch of great artists. Would you tell me about that experience and like how did it all go down?
I hosted an open mic night in Harlingen, Texas, because the nearest one, basically in the valley, there's like McAllen, Texas up here, and then Harlingen, and then Brownsville. And so like the biggest one was in Harlingen. I mean, the biggest one was in McAllen. So everyone from Brownsville or Harlingen would have to go all the way up there. So I was like, hey, you know what? We're in the middle. Let me host open mic. And then some people would actually come down from McAllen. And honestly, it was a lot of work. Building it from the ground up, no one knew about it. There's times where I would literally have like one person show up. And then after a while, we'd get like consistently like 10, 15, 20 people like showing up regularly. And it was like a nice little community and it was individual solo artists at that. No shame on the other mics, but like a lot of mics, you know, the bigger ones, of course, they have more equipment and they can accommodate entire bands. So it's like really big and you're hearing like full live band production and live music. So it's an awesome experience. But for a solo artist, especially if you're starting out in music, it's kind of intimidating to have a whole band play and then you got to go and play your MP3 track off your
Right.
iPhone, you know, and the crowd's just like, what? Like, it's not cool. Versus like an entire crowd who likes that, you know, it's a niche little community. They want to, you know, very supportive, hearing like these rap tracks and things like that, R&B. A lot of artists came from that open mic, and that's the thing. I gave a lot of artists down here their first performance, man, ever. And looking back, man, some of them ain't giving me the flowers, and
Man.
that's just how it is. You know what? I haven't called nobody out, but I will say, you know what's crazy? At that venue that I hosted the open mic out, they're throwing a show coming up at the end of the month. And they invited literally like I think like almost everyone except for like 2 or 3 names. And it's like 12 plus people have performed at my open mic. All right. I'm not on that lineup. They invited basically everyone but me at that venue that I kind of parted ways with. I'm like, yo, that's crazy. And it's happened before when I show up, which just numbers wise, I am one of the bigger solo artists, so to speak. So when I'm there, what happens is everyone's just like, and I give a hell of a performance. I'm dressed up and I got choreography. I'm playing no backing tracks. I got my lyrics memorized, which sounds like a little bit of bare minimum, but a lot of people are rapping over the backing track. But it's like it's a
Right.
full-on performance, which I kind of archive my videos on YouTube. But I'm doing like all kinds of stuff, and people know the lyrics, and like I have my fans are there, and even the rappers know my lyrics. That's the thing. So when I'm there and I don't perform, everyone's like, hey, are you gonna perform? And I'm like, no. And they're like, dang it. Like I wish that would happen. I'm like, hey man, well that's, I'm not one to hate, but they don't spread the love around like that. And then those people will be the same people who post on Facebook, oh, they don't support each other down here. Oh, it's crabs in a
Right.
bucket. Bro, you're the crab in my bucket right now, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah, that is
And
wild.
but I will say, I had a lot of good memories. I want to shout out some artists that did come from that, and for sure, my boy Hypnotics and Nikhil Alabine are the two most promising artists, and to perform at my open mic and come out. And I feel like someone's gonna watch, and I forgot to say their name, and they're gonna be so mad. No, but those will be the top two for sure. Nikhil came in with like no fan base, no nothing, performed for the first time. She's like, oh, I want to make like EDM music. And we like, kind of supported her. And we've been going to her shows. She's been going to my shows. And she took off when she music scene. She went from like 1,000 to now, I think like I'm going to check right now. Because I'm actually pretty proud of this because it is crazy down here, to 21,000 followers and like less than, it's been like a year so far. So to go from that in a year, not knowing anything to music, and then, because we were able to connect it to some producers and recording, studios and things like that. And from since then, she would hit the studio like every week, like making songs, and she would perform open mics like every week and then do shows. And now, she's a DJ and stuff. But sometimes I think, like, I sit back and I'm like, what if I never threw that open mic, Like, a lot of these artists would have just probably, they'd be looking for a place. They probably would have gone to another open mic. I don't know, got intimidated. Oh, this is not for me. But me as a host, I would see them and I would come and talk to them and tell them to keep going and giving advice and, tips and, like actually create a bond with them. And I don't think you don't see too much of that in a lot of places.
Yeah, I totally agree. Building a community is really important. That leads me into my other question. You interview a lot of people for your social media. What do you enjoy about that? And what are some things you've learned by interviewing others?
Kind of interesting that I'm getting interviewed as as someone that interviews people. I will say it really it was a good start. That's what got me started in social media content. And I think honestly, like if anyone's trying to get into social media, you'll see a lot of people doing those man on the street things. I would say go for it. It's very easy. You're just asking people questions, and people like watching those questions. People, stuff like this is I like watching this kind of stuff. It's not too hard to edit. You just boom boom, and that's how I started getting ingrained in the community, because I would go out into different shows and I would get to interview the bands. And honestly, at first it got me into some backstage opportunities where I got to interview the bands, because a lot of people down here, I don't know how it is in bigger cities, but since the Rio Grande Valley, it's kind of like a blessing and a curse for people, like, oh, there's not too many opportunities down here. Well, because of that, if you start something, you're gonna be the guy. So because I was the guy with the interviews, like they call me like Nardwar 956, which is the area code, or Amani Nardwar or whatever, because no one was doing that. I would stick around, or I would tell like the people on the show, like, hey, I want to make, I'm doing interviews. Can I go backstage and stuff like that? And then it would get to the point where I'm like, hey, I'm looking to go to this show, and it would be a show that I want to go to. Which I can make content for your show if you get me in, I'll post some videos and things like that. And it got to the point where now it grew to actually, because I have a lot of different hobbies. I like, Pokemon and anime and stuff like that too, and video games. So then people from out there would came and were like, hey, we like your interview content. Could you do that at our conventions? Where I used to I would pay VIP to go, and now I get to go up in there. It's kind of like, and do what I love doing. So I got to collaborate with Anime Fiesta down there. I did South Texas Comic Con, and now I'm actually going to be doing an event called, I think, the Tip of Texas in South Padre Island. I'm going to be making content there for like a whole week, which I'm very excited for. But it's just through that grind. I was posting an interview every single day, by the way, for like a year before it finally took off, though. It was like the last like 3 months when it started going from like 1,000 views, 1,000 views, 1,000, and then 2,000, 3,000, 4, 5, 10, and then something would go viral or something like that. So you honestly, social media is a grind. I mean, I think you've definitely, the game. If you can stick it through, it's so worth it. It's so worth it.
Consistency really pays off, and it's great to see what you can do over time if you just stick with something. How long do you usually take to complete a song? Do you find that songs made quickly are better or worse than songs you spend weeks and longer on?
So you've heard the EP Anomaly, right?
Yes.
You want to take a guess on how long it took to write, record, and mix/master?
1 day.
Yeah, but I think like roughly like almost 48 hours. Only that project though. Enigma actually took a week. Anomaly, which I think is actually the better project, took like 48 hours because I literally was like, I don't know. I'm a huge procrastinator. I felt a feeling. All right, where I just had such a boost of productive energy. It just happens once in a while where I'm like, I need to take advantage of this because this is not gonna come in a while. And I was like, I'm gonna lock myself in this room and I'm gonna make a whole project. And I did, and it was great. I honestly, just the way my mind is, dude. A lot of times, like I'm just very like tired and unmotivated, but I'm still just trying to do the work that I do. But a lot of it's just so like draining. I'm still all the activism and the comedy is like I have a passion for it. But like even like writing jokes, sometimes I'm just like yo, like it's like trying to like rinse out a sponge, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I definitely know how that is. So it sounds like a good thing to do would be like to capitalize on those bursts of energy that you get.
I don't know what you call that. I don't know what the thing is. Is it like an ADHD thing? I don't know.
I I have ADHD and I definitely get bursts of energy. And if I don't freaking take advantage of that, then I don't know when it's going to come back. Cause like just balancing everything, all life's responsibilities. I wish I could just create all the time, but yeah, I can definitely relate. So what inspired the sound and feel of your debut album, Enigma?
The story of Enigma is so these albums are actually timelines of my life. So the song selection is very like specific. What happened in Enigma is something that happened in my own life where my ego got like massive and like literally where I'm like so much so like demanding a Grammy for how great I think I am. It gets to a point where I have to kind of reflect and think about like how it's affecting me, affecting my own relationships, losing relationships over my own ego. And then at the end, it kind of has like a sad ending where I'm just like in despair and I've lost everything and the album ends there. Sad ending. Then Anomaly picks up where it's kind of like, what happened to Amani? What's he doing? I'm chilling, I'm dancing. And it just reflects where I don't know, this a little time skip where I'm at. I'm getting back into it, feeling a little political. Miss America kind of the way I mixed it. I don't know if people can understand like the lyrics or like the picture I'm trying to paint there. It's supposed to be like a criticism of the capitalistic society that we live in. But it's so very like faint. I don't know. You ever like hear a song and then someone's like, "Oh, this is actually a song about this." It would be like a super like random song, and they're like, "Actually, this is a criticism on the Soviet Union or something like that." And you're like, what? Oh, I didn't get that at all. I don't know.
I love that.
Do it twice. I made it because it was the third song, and I was like, shit, I already did it twice. Now, I don't know. I made two bangers. I don't know. Meet Me at the Harbor, Getaway, and Joan of Arc, I would say, would just be songs of the emotions and experiences that I was feeling through just the relationships I was going through, just my love life, pretty much. And then Joan of Arc would be like the happy ending, finally, like getting like finding that perfect person, which I'm with right now, but I won't get too much into detail just because now I feel like I'm in a position right now where my ops are gonna use I don't want people to use like my loved ones as like ammo or like to try to like control me.
That's so cool to get an inside look on like the inspiration behind those. They're great records. Do you have any new music in the works? Are you exploring any new directions?
So Enigma, Anomaly, the third one will be Paradox for the trifecta right there. All kind of similar. So Enigma is kind of like something that it's hard to understand, which was me, and that's what I felt like I was going through. Like people couldn't understand me and my thoughts because I was so high on my pedestal. And Anomaly is me coming in. And it's more like I'm just like different. I'm kind of like a elephant in the room in a sense, and that's kind of what I converted into. Now I'm kind of like a force to be reckoned with. And Paradox is this album. And honestly, I don't know if I'm going to go with this black and white. It's like a little yin yang, like guy kind of falling. Ooh, is it going to focus? Ooh, there we go. With the stars as their head. I might do the black and white version, but there's also like a colored version. Yeah, I think I'm going to do this like black and white. I think the black and white is very cool. But Paradox is kind of like a representation of my current life where I'm doing all these things and it's like, how can you do this, but you're doing that? But it's also going to be an album of just different sounds where it's like it's not gonna make sense. Like, is this an R&B album? Is this a EDM album? Is this a rap album? It's a motherfucking is this even an album? It's a
Right.
paradox. I don't know.
That's so cool. I love that about, I mean, I would call that like a blanket term, like just pop music, because pop music can be like every freaking genre. I love when artists don't just stick to one sound. Like, it's, chef's kiss for me. So let's dive into your activism. You're the co-founder of For the People Alliance. Will you tell us about the FTPA?
Started back in the fall of last year. Just a humble little social media account at first. Really, it was me and my co-founder Deanna. We were down here and we saw that, there's a lot of political organizations. You might see it in your local area that generate like, probably even receive a lot of funding, have influence in your local elections, but then you're asking like you actually look at like what changes and it's like nothing. Or at the very least, like for sure, if I join a political organization right now as a member, all the things I want to like actually change in my society or my local community would not happen. I'd probably have to be in there for years. And we were just like, we don't have a voice. F this. Let's start our own thing. And I have social media experience. I've been going, crazy on my account. So I was like, hey, you know what? Let me apply these same tactics to FTPA and at least like, that'll inspire some social change. And the results have been unprecedented. Things that I never thought I'd ever see. Like right now, my town's mayor is getting put on blast. People in City Hall are going viral just for being there. Now we have local news going to our City Hall meetings just to provide coverage, which is great. Like people could argue, oh, he just wants clout and all this and that, and it's like whatever. Look at the impact, dude. People are now giving a shit. And people now City Hall is not like these boring old people meetings. It's actually the people are like, yo, let's see what's going on. This is actually something interesting, which was the whole point. That's all I ever wanted. And honestly, I wouldn't even care if someone else came in. Really, I would prefer if a clout chaser came in trying to make content from City Hall, because that would accelerate what I'm trying to do, which is getting more people in those buildings so they can't just pass stuff without us knowing. Because now with the thing that happened was they're trying to slip a data center under our nose, and now they're trying to also pass an ordinance that could affect how we even speak during public comment, which brings up free speech concerns. But running a political org is very, it's not for the weak. We just released a flyer for a protest on Saturday about these flock cameras. We're gonna meet up outside these flock cameras and protest. We just released a flyer today, and I literally was like, this is so last minute. But I think we've generated enough social influence where the flyer could take off, and now it got like 700 likes so far today, about 200 reposts.
Great.
In the local community, so people were riled up. And I wish I had like extra time to promote it, but it took us a long time to put the idea together. But also we were debating like, should we let it ferment? Because what happens with these protests is if you promote it for too long, it gets into the wrong people's hands. Like the people that like are on the other side start seeing it and they're like, oh, we should pull up. So if you do it quick, the algorithm only pushes it to people that think, that would want to see it, but after a while, you never know, like it starts seeping out. So I think this was just the perfect amount of time to push it out, but doing good so far.
That's so admirable. How do you feel about AI in general?
I have a couple different levels of opinions. For one, as an artist, I think AI, the way it's being used is so laughable. Everyone that's used AI in the art space, I've just been seeing it being used in a very corny way. And it's only really been touched by like kind of lazy, untalented people. The real artists haven't really needed like AI. I don't use AI. Can understand like all the uses, like if you're like a businessman and you need somebody like summarizing emails and meetings and whatnot, like cool. The way that AI is supposed to be used is supposed to be in ways that we shouldn't even like see or notice. But the reason why we're like it's causing all this stir up is because people are using it in like the dumbest ways, like come to Juan's 23rd birthday party, lightning bolt,
And those AI flyers, like what?
That's what I'm saying. They're so corny. It's like, man, like, if I see another AI flyer, bro, like, okay, so that's what kills me. So I'm a comedian. I get booked for shows, and sometimes the shows will put me on an AI flyer, and I'm just like, bro. And every once in a while, someone's like, wait, aren't you the AI guy? Why are you on an AI flyer? And I'm just like, my solution is, if you have me on a show, it's an AI flyer, good luck on the promotion on that, because I'm not sharing that.
Right.
Oh, my goodness. But what I'm going to do actually, and I did pay an artist to do this commission actually. A lot of these things we kind of plan out, and I'll show you. You guys will get it here first, and this is awesome. It is what we're gonna do. I went out and got a list of artists and their commission price and examples of their work and all that stuff. And I'm gonna release basically like a post like showing, hey, here are artists that have agreed to basically for us to promote that, they're down to do flyers. They have a quick turnaround, go to them instead of AI, pretty much. And then we also have some educational, and it's all gonna be like one big post, and hopefully people can share it because it was made by a very talented graphic designer, which I can show you. They've done they've done flyers for like colleges and stuff, and it's kind of hard to see, but like stuff like this and
Okay.
this and like this and like pretty cool stuff.
See, those actually look good.
These are the
they're not
renderings
gross.
of the flyer, yeah. Like cool stuff,
Yeah.
I wonder, they had some other stuff that they made, but the one that they made was, oh, this was cool. Okay. It was your AI flyer sucks with a fist.
Literally.
And then there's just like, and we kind of made revisions. It's going to be hashtag stop the slop. Hashtag stop the slop. And then we're doing the other one, hashtag go flock yourself for the flock cameras. That's the AI side. For the data centers, it's really quick and simple. You just don't want a data center right next to your house. Why would you ask for that? They make a lot of noise. They draw a lot of power. The data center they're trying to build in Utah, it's going to raise the local environment by I think 1 to 2 degrees. And it's just going to be hotter. They make a lot of noise. I'll talk about the one that they're trying to build next to Harlingen is the fact that we only have about between 20 and 40,000 homes in Harlingen, and the one that they want to build could power 700,000 homes. So you could imagine how much your electric bill is going to go up, probably a lot. But then they're thinking, oh, it's going to employ over 1,000 people. Yeah, to build the thing, once it's built, it's going to go down to 2, which is the one guy to just walk down the hallway. Everything's good. Got a notification. This graphics card needs to get changed out. But even then, here's a thought experiment for everybody. If you're ever in a crowded room or a restaurant and everything, literally think, what if everybody in this room made 200 grand a year? What changes? How does your life change at all? What gets cheaper? What gets fixed? Nothing. Trickle-down economics does not work.
You've appeared on the news speaking on flock cameras. What are your concerns about them?
Flock cameras, it's a privacy concern. I'm just, against mass surveillance for multiple reasons. There is a world where we could be okay with this if the government wasn't misusing and overstepping for literally centuries. There's already been instances of the officers using the cameras to stalk people in their personal lives. This guy literally pulled over an actress that he stalked using a flock camera, flagged her license plate, and then finally when the flock camera picked up her license plate, was able to follow her and pull her over, asking her on a date. And they want us to pay for that with our taxes. That's another thing. I don't care if you're left or right or Republican. It's both. These are bipartisan issues. Republicans want a smaller government, but you want to equip the government with AI tracking cameras. You want less taxes. You want to pay less taxes, but you want your tax money to go to these cameras. It would be cheaper to have it get sent back to, hey, we were going to spend 80 million on these flat cameras. You know what? We're going to give 80 million back to you guys, as a matter of fact. Or another example, Republicans aren't they all about the Constitution and free speech and privacy? I'm yo.
I mean, it doesn't seem like it. I thought so.
Literally, dude, watch them flip. They're literally oh, there's no expectation of privacy in a public area. They're the one people where they're why are you recording me?
Right.
Why are you recording? And I'm dude, they just don't like it when a Democrat says it. And it's so funny. I really feel like Trump could be we need to expand healthcare and our taxes are going to pay for it. And I'm going to call it Trump Care. And everyone's going to be this is great. I can finally afford healthcare and I can finally pay for surgery. Why haven't we had this the whole time? We need to make free college so we can get smarter than these dumb liberals. Public education needs to be expanded, actually. If you just paint it that way, then they'll be yeah, he's cooking. You just have to shit on the other group well, we got to be healthier than these liberals, of course. You can't let the liberals be healthier than us and smarter than us. Yeah, that is a good idea. We need to tax the rich. Because the rich are actually a bunch of liberals. Sometimes I think game plan, you have to send someone to run as a Republican to have those talking points and just stir up a whole movement. It's like that Key and Peele skit where he was Obama and he was saying yeah, we need to shrink the government. And they're no, no, no. And he's okay, bigger government. Dang, you guys are pulling my chain here. Overall, that would be my take.
Yeah, pull out that reverse psychology. With surveillance tech like flock cameras spreading so fast, public awareness is usually low until it's already implemented. How do you break down complex civil liberty issues into social media content that people can engage with?
That is literally our core focus, is making politics accessible to people that don't have the time to attend these city hall meetings. So my ultimate goal is like, if we could expand and have enough members to attend like every political happening ever and condense it all into like a post where you could just, hey, this is what's being voted on. Hey, this is what happened. You're scrolling on Instagram, just you doom scrolling makes you more politically evolved and educated than the average American. That is the goal for FTPA, where people ask, what do I do? How do I get involved? Just hit the follow button. That's it. And maybe donate.
Right,
But
yeah.
that is the point where you could, hey, what's going on? Well, the most important things is going on the FTPA page. There's gonna be a big flock camera protest. We're posting those city hall clips that are going viral. I mean, it's kind of half where it's like we're trying to grow. So my social media expertise of like, hey, how, the intention isn't to go viral. Honestly, a lot of those posts that got viral, I didn't expect to go viral. Honestly, it just happened. And I thought, I literally was like, well, if anyone cares, this is what happened in City Hall. These are some clips. This is the most important part. But if you look at our posts, yeah, we try to explain like civil rights and things like that and different happenings. And it kind of got to the point where it's kind of hard to tackle a bunch of different issues. And our focus is just on just a lot of the big topics that can impact our community the most, which is the flock cameras and the AA data centers and the ICE deportations and things like that. But of course, the goal is, if we could have someone focused on like if we could have an Amani for every single issue posting content, because I'm out here like editing and posting and coordinating, and then and we have other people that do the volunteer work and things like that. But if we could like split off into like different divisions, like I don't know, to just get a lot more done. But in the future, hopefully.
You guys are doing great work. We live in a time where people are being scared into staying quiet on important issues. Have you ever faced direct censorship or threats from people for your advocacy work?
Yeah, Instagram took down one of my flock camera videos for sure. Instagram and Facebook, they did that. And two, that's the thing about the ICE deportation issue, because the people that are affected by it the most, the people that have to speak out the most about it cannot, because they would literally get deported. You can't be like, hey, stop this. I'm illegal, or I'm undocumented, so I have the right to speak about this. Then they're gonna be like, oh, get them out. Like that's exactly who we're coming for. This issue is so difficult because it literally requires privileged Americans to speak out for them, and it's the privileged Americans that want to do it the least. It's out of any other issue, it's the one time where the people affected the most by it can't say anything about it because they'll be affected by it even more. I've been sent DMs on this issue particularly, hey, I can't speak out on this. Thank you, so much for what you're doing. If you could please do this, this, and this. And I'm just like, well, of course, yeah. We're trying to be a voice for those people. They have tried to censor us. They're trying to censor us now they're passing an ordinance in Harlingen where they could kick people out for being disruptive. And I'm pretty sure what they're going to do is as soon as I go in and even speak or anything, they're just going to be like, oh no, he's going to cause a disruption. He has his phone out. You know what he's going to do? He's going to try to record and this and that. No cameras, which they've already tried to remove the camera off the podium before. And I think that ordinance was literally because of me. If you just look at the timing, and they're like, oh, we've had City Hall for decades, and every City Hall has a public decorum. It's like, why are you looking at it now that you're going viral on Facebook, and your grandmama saw it and is asking you, hey, why did you say that? Like, what? Everybody's looking at you being an idiot. What's going on with that? I don't know, man. It's crazy times that we're living in. I never thought I would put like the mayor on blast. I'm 22 years old, man. Anytime I get like any pushback or any ish online, I'm literally like, bro, like you guys are in your 30s, 40s, 50s, dealing with someone like a third to half your age. I'm pushing your buttons. That's crazy.
Right.
But also, like, if you just did what the public wanted, none of this would have happened in the first place.
I totally agree. So a lot of artists keep their political and community work completely separate from their brand. Why did you choose to make your activism public?
I had to, because no one else was doing it. And honestly, if I don't want to say like, I see a lot of people with way more followers than me, way more views than me, and they haven't spoken on this issue at all. And I'll even say like, yo, if Taylor Swift said no flock cameras, if Taylor Swift said, I don't want to just call out only Taylor Swift, there's a lot of actors and actresses out there and singers and songwriters that can't because they don't want to lose partnerships and brand deals. But honestly, me speaking out on these issues, a lot of the people that I've been shaking hands with and doing interviews with, they're like, I love what you're doing and what you're speaking out for and helping the community. Now, honestly, I will say with these issues, it's probably easier because it's more of like a bipartisan issue. Both sides agree on this. If I was speaking like about controversial topics like maybe ICE, the ICE issue might be pressing it a little, then certain companies or sides would have been probably been like, oh, I don't know. But right now, with the flock cameras and the AI data centers, for sure, I think as an influencer, if you're worried, I think that's something safe to spread word about. You don't have to be specifically because FTPA we haven't even identified with a party actually. We've just been talking about the concerning issues that be. And honestly, in my opinion, I think both parties could do a lot better. That's why I won't I have beef with I don't want to say I have beef, but like I really have a lot of criticisms for my local political parties down here. I would say I side more with the Democrats, but there's been some corruption down here regarding that too. I literally believed that if I didn't make a video on this, no one would know and it would get swept under our noses. So then I started posting about it and it just exploded to this whole thing, proving me right. Everything that happened since is the reason why, because I felt like all of this needed to happen.
I heard you play poker and you actually won your fourth tournament this year. Can you tell me about that?
I just literally decided this year that I'm going to learn poker and win tournaments. My goal is to win one. I just wanted to win one. And I won 4, 3 in Hold'em, 1 in Omaha, and one of them was actually a kind of like a qualifier into the World Series of Poker, which I played in Austin. Got my ass whooped because it's the World Series of Poker, and there's some really good players up there. But that was my next goal. I just want to play in the World Series. It was a circuit, but it's a lot of people see it as like gambling, and it's like a degenerate thing. And for one, there's math involved. There's a lot of logic involved. I would even argue it's hard. It's up to par with like chess even. There's a lot of thinking that has to be done. At the end of a tournament, my head is hot. I'm not just like guessing here. A lot of my decisions, I know exactly what's going to happen off the observations that I've had. And if it's all just luck, then how do the same people win tournaments consecutively? Actually, it just happened in the World Series earlier. Back-to-back tournaments, the same players won first and second place.
Wow.
First and second place, same people, and then another first and second place. But it's all just luck, right? And you're looking through hundreds of combinations of cards and hands and players and chip sizes and everything. So, like, if it was just luck, your odds of winning that is like 1% if you're just blindly betting, But if I go to a tournament, it's a very most of the time I'm gonna make final table, and I've just been studying, and I just wanted to do it. And honestly, with the activism, a lot of your politicians play poker. You want someone that's gonna make real change, they're in that poker room. All right. So fun fact. And I have a lot of fun with it, gamble responsibly. Don't think of it as a way to like make money. If you're trying to play poker, really don't play with cash, just play a tournament. They have ones where you can enter for free. Look up free roll tournaments near you. Play free rolls, And then if you but I don't have enough money to play cash with, then play the free rolls. And if you can't win a free roll tournament, then you're probably not good enough to play cash and win cash games because you're gonna lose all your money. So and then if you win a free roll, hey, you just got free money to play with, and then you just go from there. That would be the best way to do it responsibly. But But I do feel very proud of myself with that. Of just picking up a skill and then just accomplishing something. I'm very just results and accomplishment driven.
So you also do comedy. You're a comedian. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
So I've loved comedy for a while. When I hosted the open mic in Harlingen, comedians would come out and I'd be like, man, like I have all these funny ideas, but how do you write them into jokes? Like I just couldn't do it. And then finally I decided I'm just going to write something funny. I'm going to make myself write jokes. For the first 2 to 3 months, everything I said at comedy open mics bombed. No laughs. Like I got heckled. It was so bad. My gosh, that's a new slang. My gosh.
My gosh.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. But it's just trial and error. I don't even know. This is something I worked on. I have very, I don't want to say like I have like edgy, dark humor, but it's like more like well, consider this. Okay. Everyone is arguing about the historical accuracy of the Odyssey, and they're shitting on the Odyssey because they're like, oh, they didn't have this armor. It wasn't historically accurate at all, which I say to them, I agree. I expected a lot more of those Greek soldiers to be fucking.
Right.
That's my joke with
Exactly.
that. I had to make a joke about the Odyssey, and I performed that actually last night. I got some laughs, so there we go.
When you're doing stand-up comedy, do you ever have to read the room and then like adjust your jokes accordingly?
Yes, every single time I have not done that, it's gotten very poorly. You have to. But that's the thing. You can only do that if you have enough jokes in your arsenal. If you only have like a 5 minute set and only that, then you're gonna rock with that 5 minute set every single time and no matter what, and you have certain jokes and you can read the room, it's like if there's people that might not rock with certain jokes in that set, you're already cooked and you just have to go through it and but some now I have like an hour of material, so I at open mic you get like 5-10 minutes, but you can get like I can give you like I got like 6 different variations of what we got. Oh, you don't like jokes about you're a Republican? All right, I'll take out my ICE jokes, take out my Trump jokes. All right, cool. You're not from here. All right, I'll take out my local jokes. That's all right. You might not understand that.
That's so interesting. I've always wondered about that. What fulfills you most, being recognized for your music, comedy, or activism?
This is like a weird feeling, but all three in a sense. And the fact that like every week I get recognized for like each of them individually, actually. Someone's like, oh, you're the guy. And I'll literally like, where have you seen me? Oh, you're the comedian. Oh, you're the guy that does interviews. Oh, you're the music artist. And I've never seen that for other people. I've just never experienced that because everyone tells you on social media, it's like, stick to your niche. You gotta
Right.
stick to your niche and go in that. And I was like, F that. I'm gonna make interviews. I'm gonna do music. I'm gonna make content about everything. And it just worked out, I guess, And now, like, yeah, people know me for different stuff. Fun fact, I'm wearing my AI data center shirt. It's a quote from the mayor.
Do not see a clean benefit to the city, Mayor Norma Sepulveda.
So we held her to that.
Nice.
We put her on a shirt.
How would you recommend people get more involved in the community?
Follow FTPA for RGB. Look up on Google, search your city commission meeting. Go to that one. Go to the next one. And then you can sign up for public comment. If you don't know how, usually call your city secretary. They'll guide you through the process. There's typically deadlines, and you can speak about whatever you want. If you want to speak about a specific item on the agenda under public hearing, then you'll sign up for public hearing. If not, it's public comment where you can say whatever. That would be the first step. Join a local political organization. If there's any, like FTPA, I don't know, but I think FTPA in the Valley would be the best way to, I'm biased. We focus on accessibility, so we are the most beginner friendly, I feel. And I think that's why other organizations have even asked us, like, we want to get new people involved. How you guys have been like very good at getting new, younger people involved. And that's something that a lot of older organizations that have been around for like maybe like half a decade to a decade struggle with. And they get funding, but they're not getting new members and they throw events and it's all the same people. With us, when we throw events, it's like different people most of the time, actually. And the reason why I feel is because we make it very like easy and accessible, and we don't have like that kind of brand. We're just, for the people. We're not identifying as like Democrat, Republican, this or that, or socialist. And that sometimes, it's good to do that, spread a specific agenda. But I think that's just kind of what kind of helped us. Where if you're a young person, think about it. You're new to politics. You don't want to pick any sides. You just want to know what's going on. Someone from the Democratic Party who they was the vice president of the Young Dems org actually said that, yeah, one of our strengths is that we post and focus on the issues themselves, not kind of any like org identity. It's like, hey, you care about this issue? Show up. Simple as that. Not like, hey, are you a socialist? Are you a Democrat? Well, come to the Democrat hang. It's like, yo, AI data centers. Yes or no? Pull up. We're going to protest. We're speaking about civil rights. That's something we can all agree with. And I want to see where this goes. For one, sometimes between the two sides, they'll literally disagree on basic moral values, which is tough. But there could be some other middle ground, between the parties where we can push for like positive change. Like I really think healthcare should be an issue. Republicans care about the economy so much, but they're just brainwashed to think that like giving the money to the billionaires and the people would help them out. And it's like, if we can undo that brainwashing a little bit, I don't know. I think we make it easily digestible to someone that, doesn't want to outwardly come out as like a hardcore. Because once you pick a side, you automatically become hated by the other side.
Right.
It's like, hey, I just wanted to advocate for my free speech. I just want to advocate about these flat cameras. I'm not trying to create enemies. I'm not like imagine that, yeah, if you had to sign up for as a Democrat or Republican to campaign against data centers, then all of a sudden the other side is going to start, oh, here come the, and then you got beef, versus you can come to our events and as long as you're not racist, or being hateful or, then we can actually be productive here and get some stuff done.
I think that's a great way to do that, especially in terms of accessibility. That's just really inspiring. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's tough because every single year I've been in a different place. A year ago, I did not think I could win a poker tournament. A year ago, I didn't think I would ever be a co-founder of a political organization. I didn't even imagine. And a year ago, I didn't even think I'd be a content creator. A year ago, I didn't think I'd be doing any of this stuff, a comedian or nothing. Goal 5 years from now, I want to win like a World Series tournament or place like top 10. I want to I don't know, win a golden ticket on Kill Tony, I guess, as a comedian, or headline at an arena. For content creation, I want to hit 10 million views in a single month and 10K followers. And then the political activism, 5 years from now, mayor of Harlingen, boy.
Yes.
Everyone's been commenting Amani for mayor. We can do it. I really think that I could do it, man. First black mayor of Harlingen. I don't know, actually. I'd have to check. But that would be generational. I really feel like that would inspire a lot of people. I could show people, hey, and I think I would be a good mayor. I'm a smart guy. Actually, just today, I got called someone asked if I would be down to start speaking at schools to inspire the children. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, dude, you're so inspirational.
Which that was on my bucket list. I never thought I'd be able to do that. I've always wanted to do that. I've always wanted to be an inspiration for the kids, man. But it's like a stop bullying thing, which I think my pitch is gonna be, guys, I get bullied every day, actually, online. Actually, my position right now is to get bullied online every day. Look at my comment section. But it's actually because I get bullied so much that I'm in the position that I am right now. If I haven't gotten so much hate, I wouldn't even be here, actually. The algorithm would not push me out if I didn't generate so much controversy. And the message would actually be to use your biggest strengths, use your biggest weaknesses. Everything that you're clowned on actually can turn into a strength. And my example was people in high school, middle school would make fun of my hair all the time. I'm being told nowadays, actually, by professionals, don't cut your hair. Keep it like that. That's your most defining feature. That's powerful for your branding. Keep the hair versus everyone. Yeah, straight up back then, people would literally tell me to cut my hair, and now I'm being told to keep my hair. That's crazy.
I feel like that's the epitome of like turning, of the epitome of alchemizing things, turning negative experiences into positive experiences.
It's true. And as a kid, there's no way you can even see far enough to imagine that it takes a while, but that something like that could be turned around. I could imagine someone having nowadays with the power of social media, you could have like horrible acne growing up, super insecure about it. And if you just made a video about it, showing it to the world, showing your acne transformation process, you would probably become a millionaire. Acne companies, treatment companies are sending you products to try out. You're richer than all of your friends. You're getting a lot of views. And you start your own acne brand company, like just from something that you used to get clowned on in middle school. Oh, someone in comedy, there are people who are made fun of in acting, there are people who are made fun of their looks, their height. For everything that people got made fun of, they're getting paid specifically because of that insecurity nowadays, actually, in the creative space.
Before we wrap up, what's the best way our listeners can support you?
Follow Amani Hip Hop on Instagram. If you see a video, try to like and repost. It does have an impact. It spreads that video to people that could see it and could actually show up. If you're not able to show up, show it on your story. Maybe someone that does have the means to show up and speak out and go to these events can. FTPA for RGV on Instagram. We have a donation link if you want to donate. It's in that link. It's called Give Butter. We've done a lot of events. We've hosted political candidate forums. I try not to talk about this too much only because of like recent times, but we had Jasmine Crockett down at a venue twice with over 300 people both times. And I'll explain a little bit. We only promoted it for a day and a bunch of people pulled up. But the point of that was because we reached out to a bunch of politicians. She was the only one that wanted to work with us. And it was about bringing someone who's already a congresswoman down to the Rio Grande Valley so they could get representation. Because the other people would not work with an independent political org. They would only work with like official Democratic parties. And then the only way you could go to those events is if you either paid like a RSVP fee or a membership fee or this or that, or were a member, and it wasn't accessible. So it was kind of like a controversial take. Some people nowadays aren't like about Jasmine Crockett because some of the things that she's been affiliated with. But the main part was like, as a regular citizen, as a regular person, this was your only shot at, quite literally, I'll bet you, anybody that went to the event, they met no other congresswoman or anyone running for Congress other than that at that event. And that's something I will say and stand on, that we did make that accessible to the people.
Now, Amani, is there anything that you wanted to mention that I didn't ask about?
check up on your friends. I don't know. Fun fact, I could get really sad sometimes. They'll never know. They always ask, what's Amani doing? But they never ask, how's Amani doing? No, I'm doing all right, though. You know, I always try to keep in good spirits, keep around good company. But, you know, always try to focus on your mental health for sure. You know, I'm definitely in a better, this is probably like the best place I've been, you know, mentally in a while, man, like in years, to be honest. So, and because, and I really worried actually all this attention and pressure, like how I was going to deal with it. But I've been keeping contact with some good friends, you know, just trying to keep close to my relationship. So, yeah, you know, if you're ever going through something, you know, try to keep people close to you. Don't isolate yourself. That's like the most killer thing for your mental health for sure.
Yeah,
That's what starts
exactly.
the slippery slope, you know. Don't be alone with your thoughts. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely really important to have a good support system around you. And this goes for anyone listening. You're not alone. There's always going to be someone that wants to talk, spend the time to talk with you, and just all you have to do is reach out to somebody. So that's a wrap on today's episode of the Pop Agenda. Huge thank you to Amani for sharing his time and insight with us. Make sure you guys go follow him on socials at Amani Hip Hop, stream his music on all platforms, and check out the incredible work he's doing. If you love this episode, do us a favor, hit that subscribe or follow button, leave a 5-star review, and share this episode with a friend. Keep your eyes on the agenda, stay locked into the culture, and we'll see you next time.